Product manager role can vary from company to company, right? And also, I would say that a product manager, even in the same company and same role, can actually don different hats, right? So, for example, you do see here something called as a roadmap architect, right? So, if you're a product owner, if you're a product manager of a product or a feature, then typically in most companies, you will come up with an annual roadmap, right? So let's say if your year begins from Jan to December, then let's say in December of the previous year and maybe even in Jan of this year, you will come up with an annual roadmap. And then for every quarter, you will come up with a quarterly roadmap, which you will align with your business teams as well as with your engineering partners, right? So I wouldn't say that roadmap architect is a different, kind of PM. I would say that this is a role that you actively play in a company during certain points of time, right? So if my quarter is from Jan to March, then maybe I will do this role more aggressively in January to make sure that I have very clearly articulated roadmap aligned and communicated to all my stakeholders, right? But let's say in February, assuming in Jan I would have done a very good job of it, in February, I'm not no longer going to actively play this role unless there are major changes in my roadmap, right? For example, when COVID hit, I'm sure most of the PMs really had to go back and change their roadmaps because this was like an unprecedented situation which no one had accounted for, right? We also have something called as a technical product manager. Now, what is a technical product manager, right? So a lot of the products or apps that we see or talk about or use, for example, your Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., are more catered towards your end users, right? So for every PM, understanding of technology, agile SDLC, and basically how does microservices architecture work is imperative. But at the end of the day, in most of your B2C companies, you can have the liberty to still think from the end user perspective. And as long as you can do a very good job of that, you need a little less. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Let me pull in something. Right. Your technical involvement will not be very high, right? But there are product managers whose sole responsibility is to manage a platform, right? So let's say in PayPal, there would be a platform where payments get triggered and they get fulfilled, right? So if you are a technical PM or if you're a PM of this transactions platform, your core goal would be to say that, okay, this platform should be able to, like, it needs to be scalable, which means that, it should have the capacity to support, let's say, 10,000 transactions every minute, right? The upload time or the response time of this application needs to be less than 5 seconds, right? Or rather 5 milliseconds, right? Which is that the first time that it gets a ping from any app or from any API to say that, okay, please process this transaction, the response time to this request should be less than 5 milliseconds, right? Because these transactions happen in real time, right? So a lot of these other kinds of performance metrics, for example, scalability, what is my lead time, what is my response time, what is my downtime, my system needs to be up and available at 99.99% of the times. Some of these things is what you will start owning, right? And not necessarily that, okay, end user is going to click this button of transaction and then what will happen. For that, you will have another PM, right? So a technical PM would look more into the platforms, right? And a few platform related features or aspects, or even the architectural integration, right? How does this platform integrate with, let's say, my internal transaction portal, right? So PayPal could support its own internal transactions, but PayPal could also be a network provider for other payments, right? So let's say maybe on Amazon.com, right? So the US version of Amazon, you can pay using the PayPal API, right? So those could be your external users or your third-party service providers to whom you expose your services, right? So that is more like a technical product manager, right? A lot of things around this strategy piece, right? So the strategy piece can actually entail, let's say, if there's a new product development team that gets set up, right? So what are the set of new products that the company should launch, right? So for example, in American Express, while we were very big on the consumer card business, there was a team set up in 2016 which decided that, okay, what additional products from a strategic perspective should we now launch, right? And that's when We said that, okay, there could be a consumer loan business, there could be insurances, there could be merchant finance, right? So basically thinking about what is the next set of products or features that we should launch, and how would we conceptualize this, how would we would validate that there's a need for this feature or product, how would we understand what is the market size for this feature, what could be certain baseline metrics which we should assume. Should we assume that we will get 1000 users in a month? Will we get 10 million users in a month? Like, what is the success metric for this feature or product? And also, let's say, what is the 1 year goal or the 3 year goal for this product, right? So a lot of those aspects will come under the strategic product kind of role, to say that, okay, what does the short term, medium term, and the long term vision of this product really look like from a higher up perspective, right? So from my Uber metric or from my North Star metric, right? I would say some of these are the more important ones. There, another important one could actually be that I want to cover could be category management, right? So category management, think of, let's say, Zomato or Swiggy, right? So these guys, on one side, you have the end users like you and me, but on the other side, you also have integration with a lot of hotels and restaurants, right? Now, these hotels and restaurants can be divided into various categories, right? One, you could have your luxury hotels and restaurants, right? Think of Taj, right? The other one could be, let's say, I would say, your middle level restaurants, right? Then there could be your nearby restaurant kind of places, right? So you would have these different, and then obviously there could also be like ghost kitchens, which are now coming up, which is just like cloud kitchens basically, right? So you don't have a dine in, die out, you just have like a cloud kitchen, right? So you will divide all of these restaurant partners into different categories. Within each category, you could, let's say, have 50, 100, 500 partners, and then your category manager guy is going to essentially own some of these partners within a certain category, right? And then manage relationships with the existing partners and bring on more, right? So a lot of times, if you're a category manager with Swiggy, you will be said that, okay, you are a category manager for, let's say, the luxury restaurants, and within that, these are the 10 that you have to manage, either for a certain location, let's say Bangalore, or at a national level as well, right? So that could be like a category manager role. Now, I know that it does talk about a lot of others, but I do believe that there's a lot of synergies, between a lot of these roles. So high level, what I wanted to cover are these ones.